Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you. That was a great intro. It's a miracle that I'm here, thanks to my wife and my in-laws who are covering, the new partner in the family. Um, so just to set the stage and the context, we're talking about partners, right? And I don't think there is one size that fits all when it comes to partner engagements. When we talk about partner DevRel, it's really just how do we change or adapt the DevRel function to assist with the larger business objectives within your organization of contacting and working with partners. I'd like to share my experience working for 2 years with Google Workspace. I hope that you will get some benefits out of this, some tips to creating your own engagement, but it's really customized for you, based on your culture, team size, etc., all of that. So don't take this as the ultimate goal, but as tips and pieces and tips that can help you with your own program. With that, yes, that was cool. So on the agenda today, we're going to be talking about definitions. What do we mean by partner? What type of partners exist? We'll talk about the benefits of partnerships, both for the partner and for your organization across all the different teams that are involved. We'll talk about a typical partner engagement lifecycle. How do we engage all of these teams when we start pitching to a partner to the point that they launch an integration with our platform? And I'll talk about giving you some tips on how to build your own strategy for partner engagements. We'll talk about navigating some of the challenges, and we'll talk about the S word, scale. Whenever you're good at something, the first question is like, how do we scale this? So still a problem that I haven't solved, but I'll share some of the tactics that I'm working on, and I'd love to hear from you on your experience as well. So a bit about me. I've been working as a partner developer advocate for Google Workspace. Google Workspace, as you may know, it's the collaboration platform that includes Gmail, Docs, Drive, etc. And it's not just the end user product, but it's also the APIs that sits behind that, the add-ons frameworks, the chat APIs and chat apps that you can build. So my role is to enable strategic partners to build platform integrations, which means that I work with partners from start to end on building third party. And we'll talk about what kind of partnerships exist and which ones we will focus on to be released on the platform. Now, prior to joining this role, I worked with Google Cloud as a customer engineer, so a technical pre-sales. And prior to that, I held different roles that involved cloud, solution architecture, product development, software development, and project management. I'm married with the 2 lovely children, Miriam and our new addition, Omar. My cultural background is Palestinian Jordanian. I've been living in Canada for the last 12 years or so, which means in addition to loving Middle Eastern foods like falafel and kunafe, now I get to add maple syrup to everything that I eat. And for those of you who don't know how important maple syrup is, fun fact, Canada has the only maple syrup reserve on the planet that can host up to like 113 million pounds, like 216,000 barrels. And it was actually stolen from like 12 years ago in what's called the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. So some crazy stuff. It's real. So before we dig further, I just wanted to do a quick check-in. By show of hands, how many of you work with partners today in one shape or form? Great. Okay. Out of those, how many of you are part of a larger DevRel team? So you're not the DevRel team. Okay, so you've got some support. Cool. And can somebody share any challenges that you have with your partners today? I'm going to mention a few, but I'd love to see if there is anything specific or a trend. Yes?
Priority.
I love that. All right, communication and different business priorities. Yes?
Like so the target.
Yes, so finding, giving them the why they should build with you. Yes.
It's the biotic belief.
Yes, yeah, having a symbiotic relationship instead of feeding off. Yes. Alignment internally or externally as well?
Like it works maybe not the fact that
We're all saying the same thing. So alignment within, the team and the org. Yes? Yes, so maybe more communication. How do you stay up to date with what they're doing? Okay, these are all great points. I'll mention some of them. Anything else? All right, good to go. So first of all, let's talk definitions. What do we mean when we say a partner? A partner can mean different things to different orgs, to different teams. In my case, I'm going to use the Google Cloud Partner Advantage definition. So Google Cloud Partner Advantage is a partnership program, and they divide partners into three different categories. So there are the sellers, who are basically resellers of your products and services. There are the service partners, who are mostly the service integrators, SIs, who provide value in consulting services, implementation, and other value-added services to make sure that your product works for the customer they're building it for. And then we've got the build partners, and those are the ISVs, the independent software vendors, who build integrations with your platform for their users and your users. And for the remainder of this presentation, this will be our focus, build partners or ISVs. So what do build partners want? As we get requests and as I deal with them, they want really two things. Go-to-market enablement. So they want to do co-marketing, co-selling. They want to be announced with you. They want to be on stage. They want to be involved in your events. And that's something that is usually handled by marketing, partner managers, business development. And the second is technical enablement. And this is what DevRel really excels at. So doing the one-on-ones, onboarding, all of that. But this is what a partner wants, and this is what they get. But what do we get as an organization? So across all the different go-to-market teams, for example, I know yesterday, I love the fact that, the theme of linking DevRel to business has been all over the place. Yesterday, Joyce talked about it. Katie and Sean talked about it. Kayla talked about product partnerships later on, which we'll come to. But everybody is talking about how do you align with the business. So business benefits from those partner relationships by amplifying the impact of a new product releases and new feature releases. If you release a new feature and you just say like, hey, world, this is a new feature, that's it, it has less of an impact than you saying, well, we're launching it with XYZ partners who have already built integrations or built solutions that depends on this. The other thing is demonstrating the adoption and adding trust to your platform. For example, Google Workspace is an end-user product plus the platform. And as we add more partners who are building integrations with us, this gives both developers and end users more trust that our platform, our solutions are used and adopted by many others. The product team loves partnerships because they get to do one-on-one close relationships to hear more about the user feedback and new use cases, but also to keep a pulse and keep a tab on market trends. What are partners looking for? Are we building the right thing? Engineering loves those partnerships because early on, if you engage even while you're developing your solution, they get to also give that direct feedback, but also because they can catch bugs early. And we all know the value of catching bugs early on before it's actually released into production and all. And most importantly, for DevRel teams, like DevRel team, I think benefit the most because this shows direct business impact. When we talk about measuring success and metrics and how do we show value to the org, working with partners is a direct one-on-one relationship that shows, hey, I'm contributing to the business. I'm aligned with your business OKRs. The second thing that I love is you can take all of these learnings that you take from working with partners and you can scale them to all the other developers in your platform. So if I go back to our product team and say like partner X, feels that this feature is needed, that can prioritize it, on the product roadmap and everyone benefits. So you're really using partners to give you more support to drive all of the changes within the platform. Oops. And the last one is really just living up the relationship in DevRel. When we talk about scale, sometimes you don't get to spend time on one-on-ones, but when working with partners, the business wants you to spend that one-on-one time. So whether you need to travel to meet partners, whether you need to spend more time, digging deeper, that's all within your partner DevRel mandate. So let's talk about how all of these teams actually participate with partner engagements. We'll start with the first stage, which is pitching an idea. So when you ask about how do I show them why do they need to build with us? Typically, the business development or the BD team, the partner managers within the organization works with DevRel to do what we call the art of the possible, right? So this is the massive presentation where it talks about our platform, what can you build on it? Why should you build on it? But we also help as DevRel by sharing some of the other integrations that exist. How did other partners leverage our platform to build good solutions? And after the partner shows some interest in building with us, then we move to brainstorming use cases. This is where product managers, DevRel, and business development also are involved. And it's really around thinking, okay, what can we build as a common integration between us? Our role here is also just validating all the use cases that come up. Like, can you actually build this with all these innovative ideas? But also making sure that we can also help partners expand their usage of the platform. The next one is building the integration itself. And this is where DevRel shines. Not just partner DevRel, but all of DevRel, because this is where we do our one-on-one onboarding, this is where we do the technical enablement, the escalation of bugs, feature requests, and you act as the glue between your team and the partnership team. And then when it comes to launch, this is where we involve marketing, so product marketing, business development again, us again, in terms of supporting the partner with best practices. How do you actually publish an integration? We have our own marketplace, for example. What's the best way to add your listing? If you already have an integration, how do you add this in new integration? But also in collaborating internally between the teams. So if you're launching a new integration, you want to make sure that you get the reviews in the right time. You need to publish the press announcement or the blog post that talks about it at the same time. And that's where we jump in. And last but not least, support. So as you launch the integration, one of the sticky points that I'm going to talk about later is support. How much time do you spend supporting that integration? And we make sure that we set the expectation that we'll support you in the short term. It's almost like, next 30 days or so, but not really. But if there is any bugs that come up, if we receive feedback from some of our users saying this integration or this add-on doesn't work as expected, then we communicate that back to the partner. So it's really about maintaining a balance between talking to the partners and staying in touch with them while you're protecting your bandwidth and being ready for the next engagement. All right, so let's do a quick case study. So last year, we launched a new feature that's called third-party link preview with Smart Chips. So how many of you use Google Docs? Yes, okay, a few. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you paste a link to another Google Doc or slides or sheet in Google Doc, it will pop up a small prompt that says, hey, click tab to convert this into a smart sheet, right? And it converts this ugly URL into a nice chip. And if you hover over it, then you get a preview of the file, etc. So that was launched as a first-party feature way back, but we wanted to open it up for third-party, which means that you can now, for the partners that have launched with us, add their integration as an add-on to docs and slides and sheets for some of them. And if you paste a link, on one of their properties, you can also log in through that, ISV and get a preview of that link as well. So reflecting on the life cycle that we mentioned before, how did we engage as DevRel? Well, first of all, with early engagement. Even before the function or the feature was developed, we engage with select partners and the business development team to pitch their idea, seek interest, and then share early design documents. Like, this is how we think this should be implemented. This is how you're going to build it. It's not ready yet, but tell us if you see anything that is off. And as we went into validating and building the actual feature, I was working as a developer zero, right? So the feature is ready. Now it's going into beta testing. I'm going to test it from A to Z to make sure that we have a frictionless experience for our partners. This means reviewing dev docs, testing all the samples, and we did catch some bugs, and it's good. Like, you work with different teams, including tech writers, the engineering team, just to make sure that when we launch it into this public beta program, which I'm going to talk about next, it's flawless, and it's ready to enable developers to build on it. So we have something that's called the Developer Preview Program, the DPP. And it's a program that DevRel launched to help engineering teams have a public beta or a public preview program that's open to the public, which means that before we go GA with a feature, there is still a period of time where anybody can sign up, they get reviewed, they get approved, and then they get access to this feature so that they can test it, file bug reports. And it's proved really helpful for both product and eng teams. And again, making sure that what we're releasing into GA is something that is solid. So as we launch this, we share it with a partner, and then we go into the onboarding and the one-on-one. And this is really cool because I remember one of our partners was having like an offsite in New York, and they're like, hey, wild idea, do you want to travel from Toronto and come and do onboarding? And because they're a partner, I got the okay. And we spent like half a day taking them from knowing nothing about the platform into developing a hello world, example, and then helping them further build that integration. And of course, we fixed bugs, we logged feature requests, and we improved dev docs before the whole thing went GA. And this is a QR code if you want to learn more about our own developer preview program, because I think it's also another crucial component in the whole strategy. And as we launched, we shared best practices, we did collaboration between the team, and we did post-launch checks and feedback with the partner. Support, we continued to, again, file any bug reports that came up both ways, either with their integration or with our APIs, and we shared the new features. So when a new feature, for example, third-party link previews was there for Google Docs, a while after, it was launched into slides and sheets. So we kept in touch with the partner to keep them, informed of what's coming up and whether they're interested, and, build some upgrade docs that help them build the new feature. All right. I'll pause here for a second before I jump into the next section, which will give you more tips and tricks on how to do your own. Any questions? Anything that's burning that you want to ask? Yes?
Wait.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Cool. Okay. So, and I'm sorry, I know I'm the only thing standing between you and lunch, so I'll try to go a bit quicker. So I'll share a few tips about how to develop your own playbook based on my experience. The first thing is, how do you select your partner? Think about the different attributes and the different things that you want to consider in a partner. First of all, the size. Are you looking for a big logo that can, add credibility and trust to your platform? Or are you looking for more smaller niche partners that focus on a specific industry? Industry is the next thing. Are you thinking of a particular vertical, for example, healthcare or finance or HR, where you want to build integrations with? Or are you open to anything? Use cases. Sometimes there might be a particular use case that is of benefit to your developers, your users, and the third-party ISV users, and that can be a highly focused area. And of course, OKR alignments with the business. Based on your own organization growth, is it product growth, marketing, etc. The business development team usually sets those priorities and say, like, this is the set of partners that we want to work with. But that's something where you can also influence based on your own reading of the industry and what's going on. The second point is protecting confidentiality. So you'll be dealing with a lot of unreleased pre-GA stuff, and you must have some kind of NDA in place. This protects you and the partner as you discuss anything that's not public yet. But also when you're dealing with multiple partners, that can be a tricky situation because you know that each partner is building something else, but nothing is released yet. So you really can't share that between partners. So just something to keep in mind. Next is setting the right expectations, and that works both internally and externally. Externally, as we talked about, like how is your support going to help the partners, and up to what extent? When you launch, are you still going to be here for them? If they have a problem with a totally different and related integration, can you help them? Yes, maybe. Just be clear about your role and the expectations that you're going to offer. But also internally, as you work with other go-to-market teams, sometimes they want more of your time. They need more of your help at the pitching stage, but you're already busy with more partners building. So just make sure that you set those expectations right, and that you work with the different teams to make sure that the alignments are aligned. And then cultivate your support network. And this is where you build networks internally, first of all, within your team. So if you're part of a larger team, for example, we have a person who does YouTube videos. We have another one who works even more closely with engineering. You're going to need them all as you work with your partners. So as we launch partnering, integrations, we want to showcase them on YouTube channel. As we get more support requests and bug requests, we need somebody who is going to work closely with the engineering team. but also build them across the org. So again, product partnerships, like Kelly mentioned, yesterday, marketing. You're going to be working with teams that you rarely work with in your day-to-day work as DevRel. So make sure that you build those relationships that so that you can use them when the time comes. Creating reusable assets. As you work with more and more partners, you're going to begin to see trends. For example, we talked about the art of the possible. That now has become a standard, presentation that we have, and we share with other teams that they can give on their own. Onboarding, that's another thing that we're now building as onboarding slides that can also be shared. How-to guides, best practices. Build reusable documentation that makes it easier to share with others, to share with partners, instead of you having to do the one-on-one each time. Scale your learnings, and this can happen when you share what you've learned with partners, with other teams that are partner-facing or developer-facing, and by updating the assets that exist online. We talked about updating dev docs. This happened when we worked with a partner who wanted to build some third-party OAuth integration that we didn't have, I think, as much details, but then that triggered another effort internally to add dev docs just specifically for that use case. So take those learnings and scale them up to the rest of the developer community. And don't be shy to showcase your impact. This is really, really important. We have an activity tracker, so anytime I have an engagement with a partner, I make sure that I list which APIs or your integration points they're working on. Was this a one-on-one? Was this even a pre-engagement? Was this initiated by the business development team, by a different team as we grow to support more partners? But also, most importantly, what did we actually build? What did we do? So that when the end of quarter comes, the end of year comes, you can easily show the number of engagements across all the different criteria. When we have external newsletters, for example, we have a developer newsletter that goes out. We sometimes share some of those integrations. We talked about YouTube. We have a channel. We showcase some of those as well there. But even with events, we have a developer summits where we also showcase some of those partners, and we invite them over just to also talk about their relationship and the path to building an integration. But even internally as well, we have an internal newsletter that talks about everything that DevRel does that is distributed to different stakeholders internally. So if you have the data and you track everything that you do, just shout it out everywhere. We're all talking about showing the value of DevRel, and the value is there, and this is your chance. And last but not least, if you remember one thing from this entire presentation, it's about nurturing relationships. Again, whether it's the internal relationships or the external ones, keep in touch with your partner. Learn more about what they're doing. Tell them about what you're doing. If you're having events, invite them over, do a reception, take them out for lunch, for dinner. Just make sure that that relationship exists and continue to exist, because they may have built one integration with you, but they're a partner for life. They're going to be there for your next integration. And you need to keep that relationship and make sure that it doesn't become a transactional one. And of course, nothing is all roses. There are some challenges that comes from dealing with partners. And the first one is competing priorities. When a partner make a request, whether it's a new feature request or they want you to help them with something, there is the integral struggle between the teams. The product wants something, engineering wants something, marketing wants something else. And your role is to act as that glue and as the internal advocate for your partner to help them get what they want. So most of the time, you have to talk the language of whatever team you're trying to get their help. So if it's engineering, yes, we want to develop a bug-free product. That's a given. But if it's product, how does this new feature request help other partners that can utilize this? The second one is, how do you stay up to date? So you're busy helping partners and building artifacts and doing all of that. And at the same time, the engineering and product teams are busy just giving out new features, and you will quickly fall behind. So what I did is I blocked Friday off. There are no meetings Friday. I call them Build Fridays. I roll up my sleeve. I'm a builder, dig deep, build into using whatever is coming up. The second thing is make sure that you do one-on-one internal syncs. So I have syncs with the product, different PMs, the product managers, the engineering managers, just to, check in and see what is coming up so you don't get blindsided by that. And join any offsites. If you know that the engineering team is having an offsite, ask politely or crash it, whatever works for you. And just make sure that you're still relevant, because as DevRel, we sometimes, most of the times, get left out. They have all the parties and like DevRel is just sitting on the side and they don't remember us. So you have to work to stay relevant. Overwhelm and burnout. I did not learn this when, I learned it the hard way. Didn't know this when I first joined, but managing expectation is one thing, and we talked about that. You will have to learn to say no. When I first joined, I was happy. I wanted to help everyone, so it was a yes to everyone. And I quickly discovered that even one little question can take me on a spiral for like 3 days just to try to find the answer for. So one of the things I've learned is, know what do you need to say yes to? These are your priorities, and that makes it easier for you to say no with an explanation. Like, we work with different teams. If we don't have bandwidth, we clearly say, like, these are the list of partners that we're working with. Do you want us to switch anything? Like, we don't have bandwidth for this. So just manage your load and self-care. Delegate and communicate. Again, make sure that people know what you're working on so that if they complain, you may get an extra headcount, which is good. Like, our team grew from 1 person to 2 just for partner DevRel. And that's because we were doing a good job and we just didn't have the pathways. So it's good to make sure that you communicate that closely. And the last thing is scale and growth. So how do we scale ourselves to support more partners? I'll talk about this briefly, but it's like office hours, training others, sharing and standardizing processes. You have time? Yes, so good. Arsko.
I know there.
That's all good. So the last slide, I think, is on scale. So again, the curse of being successful at something is that you're asked to do more. So the first thing is like, how do we scale? And I'm sure that you've seen this graph, the long tail thing. So partner DevRel is worrying about partners that are really at the tip of the head, right? So like far left, only very few. And DevRel is looking at everyone else, right? So the scaled version developers, online, etc. But can we scale to fill in the torso? Like, can we add more smaller partners who may need that additional one-on-one and more of the go-to-market stuff without burning out? And we've been experimenting with office hours. So we started doing them internally for other teams that are developer-facing and partner-facing. And we're slowly opening them up to external people external developers and partners who want to ask questions. We are thinking about doing like cohorts, similar to like the accelerator. So instead of helping individual partners, maybe we'll do like a batch of 10 or 15, and that can help us scale. Shared learning with other teams. So as I mentioned, we established kind of monthly sync with other teams like customer engineers who work with customers who are developers and partners at times, another partner team. So the idea is just like to get and share your learnings out so that you can leverage other people's. And developer support is one thing that is available if you are a workspace customer. So we're thinking of just collaborating more closely and making sure that more teams are enabled. I'm not sure if relationships can scale. And my worry is as we scale, then we lose that one-on-one relationship and we lose the close collaboration that we have. So that is a struggle. If anybody has any tips, please feel free to let me know. So to recap, we talked about the definitions of partners and type of partners. We talked about how it benefits the organization and the different teams. We talked about the engagement lifecycle with an example, give you a few tips on building your own partner strategy playbook, how to navigate some challenges, and how to scale and growth. This last slide is just a personal reflection on the role. If anybody is in one area of DevRel and considering doing partner DevRel, I think it's an amazing role. It really blends in people and relations and technology. And I know this is normal for DevRel, but it's more so for this role. It offers you constant learning opportunities, as DevRel does. You wear many, many, many hats. Sometimes you feel as an event coordinator. Other times you're a product manager almost. Then you're a marketer. Then you're in sales, and it's crazy. And it can be easy to take on too much, so you have to take care of yourself. And the beauty of this is you're still in DevRel. So when there is downtime, I can always go back to writing a blog post, doing a YouTube video, or doing anything within DevRel. It all benefits the ecosystem. And that's it for me. This is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect. And I'd love to hear from you and how you deal with partners. And with that, we're done.
No, you're totally right on. It's Q&A time. Do we have any questions for Mohammed? Yes, I got you over here. I got you, Rosendo. On. No.
Thank you. For the partner DevRel and DevRel, do you consider that a separate team, or is it just like the different hat that you put on?
So for us, like we have different people within our DevRel team who focus on different stuff. So you've got somebody focusing on like YouTube, others on engineering, samples, etc. Partner DevRel within our team is a specific role. So we have like 2 people who are just doing that.
Cool. Thank you.
We got a Craig.
Hey there. So when you're measuring success with something like a chip integration, how are you, like, what are you looking at in terms of metrics? Are you just looking at like usage, or, like what's kind of the needle mover for that?
So for us with that, like when we work with the business development team, the OKR is a shared OKR. So if they say like, launch is really the success, like have they built the integration, have they launched it, and that's it. We do share some statistics at times, and the developer or the partner have access to that as well. But the basic OKR is, did we help them launch and build that integration? So it might be a bit simplistic, but that's our OKR.
So at our organization, we have a partner marketing team. And then we've recently, on the DevRel team, started working with them more closely to see how we can better collaborate and help. Do you also have partner marketing, or is that and how do y'all work together?
Yes, we absolutely do. I think, PMM or, product marketing, you said partner marketing as well? Yes. I think we have worked with that a bit. I mean, I don't recall a specific title like that, but I know like the marketing and specifically product marketing gets involved a lot when we talk about partners, specifically at larger events like Cloud Next, Cloud I/O, to highlight our partner engagements. They also work on like white papers, case studies, and just getting the word out about the product overall and involving partners within that. I think, in our world, maybe the partner managers are also more involved in being advocates for the partner and making sure that they are highlighted in every opportunity that comes up.
Hi. What would you say is choose one of what are the biggest risk and biggest opportunity for a partner DevRel kind of relationship?
Well, I'll start with the opportunity. I think the opportunity is showing direct business impact. I think, again, as you show that you are continuously supporting partner and you are unblocking partners so that the rest of the organization can move on with their go-to-market enablement, etc., that's all good. As a risk, the only thing is I think it's just taking on too much because, as you build your abilities to help in the org, you will just be asked to do more. And at one point, you really need to begin prioritizing, like, where do I think it comes to this, like, which meetings am I the only one that can contribute to? Like, if I can do art of the possible, presentation, somebody else can do it. Maybe I can decline that because somebody else can do it. But if we're doing one-on-one enablement and no other teams are involved, then it's you. So it's really just having that, frank conversation with all the different stakeholders to say, like, this is really where I feel mostly helpful. So let's just focus on that. And that can be a bit of a friction point.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, this thing on? Okay, cool. Oh,
yes.
I got you.
How do you manage subsequent phases once you have partners integrated? How do you proactively set future roadmaps with these partners?
So I think we have partner managers who manage this relationship. So they work closely with the product managers to kind of, stay ahead of the roadmap and what's coming and talking to existing partners about all of that. What we deal with mostly is support sometimes. So with that, we've also built like, issue trackers that are specific to select partners that we triage that through DevRel and the engineering teams as well. But we rely on the partner managers to manage that relationship. So we sometimes get engaged when a new feature is coming up, but they carry most of that weight. Does that answer the question?
Yes, but
We can talk more offline as well, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a technical component too as well, right? Where your technical teams can have discussions with the partner counterparts about here's what will make the most sense for the integration to move forward to the next step. And that way you collect that technical input and pass it on to your engineer.
And that's part of maintaining the relationship. So yes, they can just email us and say like, hey, Mohammed, like we're seeing this, can we do this? And our role is just, again, being advocates for our partners, taking that feedback, talking back to the eng team, the product managers, and just advocating and seeing how we can make this happen.
Anyone else?
Going once, going twice.
Okay, big round of applause for Mohammed, please. Thank you so much.